Hello. We are back once again for the next episode of A Conversation with Kelly episode. Who knows at this point? We're gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible because there's a little like finale. I don't know that's happening in like 2 hours, so we probably should speed through this a little bit more than usual. So I'm just gonna get into it. I'm here with my lovely co-host Allie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I just went to visit my grandpa for a little bit, and I went for a walk with Magoo earlier.
Love that.
And also I'm wearing a Lulu buff that I got from one of our friends for Christmas.
Yes, we love that. Even though that might not be of relevance anymore, unfortunately.
It's so cute though. I love it.
But I had a pretty good day. I just worked and now I'm home. Had some Qdoba, which we love. We love that they have the shells back as well. Shout out for Qdoba for that, because a chicken taco salad without the shell is not the same. It hits differently with the shell. But anyway, we're not here to talk about.
I'm setting my for the doc. I'm setting my phone on this new thing that my mom, I guess, put in my room earlier.
Oh, nice! I love that.
Which is kind of cool. It's like it's perfect for my phone when I'm doing podcasts.
Yeah, definitely. But you got like a little setup going on. We love that.
Yeah,
but we're not here to talk
about. I have my laptop, my microphone, and my phone stand.
We're not here to talk about the amazing setup for podcasting. Also, we love the Christmas lights in the background. Even though we're not talking about reindeer games, we're here to talk about Survivor 45. We are behind 2 episodes, as we tend to have been recently. Every podcast.
We just get very busy, so we can't always do it right away or live. So we just get really busy. So we're just going to do the last 2 right now.
They're also 90-minute episodes, so it's kind of an undertaking to write notes for. Anyway, we're almost done here. We're in the home stretch. We're just going to, like I said, we're going to try to get through this as quickly as we possibly can. So we're just going to go into episode 11 here, which I will say, I thought this was a really strong episode. But the one thing I will say about both of these episodes, you really do start to feel like, even though I love the 90 minutes, I don't think either of these episodes needed to be 90 minutes, just because there's so few people left. We get a lot of repetitive conversations, and not to say that's like
I think I still gave the episodes a 4 stars, so it's like they're both at least A-minuses.
Oh yeah, they both were very strong. I just feel like I love the 90 minutes, but I feel like they needed to incorporate just a little bit more, because there is a lot of repetitive conversations here. So we're going to try to get through it as quickly as possible. But basically, after Tribal, everyone is celebrating the move that was just made. They're shocked that Bruce didn't play his idol, as are we. Still don't understand why he didn't, but Julie tells him that he really wrote down the only name that would have worked with him, which again, just like worst move of the season, easily. Like, the worst fucking move he could have done. He
really should have just played it. Oh my god.
Yeah, he really could have. I mean, would have burned a bridge with Julie, but he still would be here. So Katurah then says the unimaginable happened. Bruce did not play his idol and he went home. She's still in shock and still processing. She can hear silence, and it's Bruce not lecturing her, not micromanaging everybody. And even when Bruce isn't here, this rivalry still continues. I love it.
So funny. They're going to be besties outside the game, though.
Yeah. I will say, this is a very good episode for Katurah. We get a lot of good stuff with her here. But she says she cannot believe he would not play his idol. It's so shocking, and it's honestly a testament to his lack of self-awareness. Emily is informing them immediately about what she told them, that he doesn't have Julie, that she's playing him like Kelly did, which is really shocking them. They all commend her for being a strong player. Dee and Julie tell Emily that it was her. And I want to get your opinion on this. I feel like she was a little too open about what she did. I think she needed to kind of keep some of this to herself. And I feel like she really puts a target on herself here.
I wish she didn't just she can tell some things, but she just went a little overboard. Like, she said a little too much. I think if she didn't, she could have been in a way better spot.
I think this is a classic example of big move-itis. Like, I think that's exactly what this was. She's really wanted
to did this big move, and now they're gonna target me.
And I mean, I'm sure we've all been there before. Like, you make a really big move. Hell, I just played a Survivor game where we were in a very dominant alliance. I can talk about this now because it just ended. But we were in a very dominant alliance, and there were points where I definitely might have said a little too much because I was feeling myself, So I understand that. But I feel like if Emily had just only told a couple people, maybe just tell a Jake or a Katurah or something like that, or a Drew. If she just told Drew, honestly, she probably doesn't end up in the position that she's in.
Exactly.
But Julie gives me, especially D, like don't tell D anything. Like
don't tell D anything. No, the only person she's truly loyal to is Julie.
Yeah, literally. So Julie gives major props to Emily since Bruce knew he was getting names thrown his way, and she convinced him that she was playing him. So he's thinking he's going to blindside her. He didn't play his idol, and her threat level has now gone up. It was a genius move, and she came up with the whole plan. So she very much is like, gotta go after Emily now. Emily just like basically mastermind that whole thing. So the Reba 4 then talk about dismantling the others because now they finally have the numbers. And I think we all kind of expected that this was probably going to be a predictable steamroll. I'm happy to say it's actually not. Like, this was a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be. They discussed that they honestly never expect to get down to 7 unimpeded. They didn't think that they'd let them take majority. Drew then asked if they're committing right there to the group as the final 4, which they all seem down for. And Austin then says that at the end of the day, what really matters is that he still has his core 4. They're all just so excited because they have the majority and how hard they all have worked to stay in the numbers. Now with their 4, Reba, and 3, everyone else, somehow they've been able to slip by everybody and have taken out people like the Mafia one at a time. And I will say, I've said all season, I feel like Julie is the one person that is like in the worst position on her, in her group. I feel like now I'd probably say Austin is. I feel like he had a lot of opportunities in these 2 episodes to like do something, and he actively like chooses not to. And because of that, like I don't see him winning.
He kind of gives at this point he gives like 0 vote finalist.
Yeah, I very much say. And look, Austin is a great person. He seems like
I love Austin.
Guy. Like I really enjoy like all of his confessionals and things like that, but I just don't think he can win the game. I just don't see it happening.
Same.
So, and I mean, there's a very good reason for that as well, and I'll get into why. But and we'll get into that really soon. But Dee says coming into the game, she felt a very close connection with Austin, and now that it's getting down to the end, their relationship is progressing. So I guess Julie was, I guess Kendra was right about the 2 of them being into each other because I mean, this is a full-on showmance now, basically.
I'm here for it. They're cute, and also we love they're both POCs, which we love.
Definitely,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, she says it makes her happy because he's such a genuine guy. She thinks initially he isn't someone she'd be interested in, but after spending so much time with people that even though it's only 26 days, it feels like 6 months. So we get this honestly really cute scene between them where they're looking at the stars and they seem to be very into each other. And this is one of those moments that absolutely is benefited from the 90 minutes. I feel like we wouldn't have really gotten to see this relationship flourish if it wasn't for the 90 minutes. And because we had them, like they really did a good job of like getting us to like feel this relationship. And I really enjoyed it. He talks to her about how when he first saw her, he thought she didn't like him because she never smiled at him, which she's surprised about because she said that she thought that he was so introverted. And he asked her what she thinks most about, and she says this. They talk about all the things they plan to do when they hang out with each other after the season. Talks to her about Boston Rob and Amber showmance, which of course ended in an engagement. He's always the one to find his Amber on the island. And she tells him how one of her biggest things coming here was all about having no showmances, but then even coming here, her friends say that she may find her husband. So yeah, Dee and Austin, I don't know if they're still together, but like
I hope they are.
Here's the thing. If they are together and they've hit it throughout the entire postseason, like props to them because I certainly could not. So,
I know.
So Austin says him and Dee have become so close during this. They have this super tight bond. She's the only person he can sit at a beach and talk with 2 hours with nothing about the game. They're just laughing, and he absolutely will be visiting her when this is all over. They've just been each other's rock, supporting each other, having someone they can both truly trust and connect, and that is super special. They don't even have to say if they know they have each other's backs through everything. He would love to be at the end with her because they have such a special, unique relationship throughout the island that if he didn't win, he'd love it for it to be her. And I'm going to make a comparison here, and I want you to tell me if you think this is valid. This is very much giving me the vibes of what happened to Tyler in Big Brother 20 with Angela, where like he was in this like golden position. He was really running the game. He really like had all like such great social capital, and then he got a showmance and completely took his foot off the gas, and the game just like completely just went over him. And I feel like that's what's happening to Austin here, where like he was in such a good position with Drew. The two of them were really like dominating the game. But now that he is so focused on D, I feel like he's just not seeing the game in front of him. And I feel like that's the reason why Austin's not winning this game.
He's just very love struck now.
Yeah, which I mean, props to D. That's not happening to her. If anything, this benefits D. But Austin,
Dee's played an amazing like cutthroat game, like, and she's just so good.
I'll say it right now. If D wins this season, I mean, she is the most dominant winner we've had in all the seasons we've covered of Survivor. Like, it's insane.
Definitely.
So Dee says she came into this game saying no showmances, one of her biggest things, but it doesn't mean she can't have a little fun. And like I said, I like these two. I know we don't love showmances on reality shows because a lot of the time, like, it just is kind of cringy to see people like cuddling and things like that. But I feel like
I don't hate showmances. Like, I don't, like, obviously if it works for your game, go for it. But and obviously, like, people like who they like. But I mean, obviously, some things can be a little much to see on like TV. But like, I don't hate showmances overall.
Yeah. I also feel like we like this because it's like it's late game. If this happened early on in the season, I feel like we get really sick of it.
That's true.
And I think it happening late is better.
For sure.
Not to say I didn't like Franny and Nat last season, because I loved those two last season. I thought they were really cute, actually.
They were so wholesome.
But I do think that similar to what happened to Nat, that's exactly what's happening to Austin. So
yeah, definitely.
Jake is a little bit sad, and the problem is Franny was not the player that D is. So like,
no, not at all. She was very good, just not as good as D.
She's not D. That's the thing.
Oh, gosh, right?
Jake is a little bit sad. There were votes for him last night. So right now he has to tread carefully. He thinks he's got 7 votes in this game now. He's becoming very popular. Hopefully 7's a lucky number and it stays there and there's no more. And Jake is really just like the person that continues to, we think, be in this losing position, but always tends to like build himself back up. And I feel like he has a genuine chance of potentially winning this game at the end. Oh, yeah. Honestly, I really do. So
I think so too. Like, he's actually done very well, especially lately.
Yeah. So he talks to Katurah about this, and she says that if they thought the last few days were crazy, it's only going to get worse. And he mentions that hopefully the apple cart is upset in some way. She's confused as to what he's saying here. I also had no idea what he was saying.
I didn't either. That was funny.
He swears that he didn't make it up and says that he's hoping he's not a backup vote. He tried to switch it up, but it hasn't worked out. And she says she's down to work with him for the next 3 votes. Says, who would have thought she'd be working with a lawyer? Julie asked to join them. And, you know, this really just, I said that Katurah making that move against Bruce was like really bad for her. I feel like she really ends up recovering well here. I think her relationship with Jake is key. And I think she did what she needed to, where it's like, Jake was the person she needed to kind of make as her number one. And she absolutely does that here. I thought she does a really good job. The only issue I have is I would not say Katurah is the dominant one in this like duo. It's Jake absolutely Jake that is in the driver's seat. So I think Katurah in the final 3 with Jake.
Very good, like, socially.
Yeah, but I do think if Katurah is in the final 3 with Jake wins. Like, I just think that's going to happen.
I mean, I can see Katurah winning too. I just do think, based on this, I think Jake has a really good shot.
He's also just had a much bigger edit than Katurah, so, you know.
Yeah.
But Julie asked to join them. Jake tells Katurah that there's a lot of people that he works with that reminds him of her, and she says that while she thought about being a lawyer, kind of helping in that way, but never actually pursued it. Remember, she's lying about the fact that she's a lawyer. So
I know.
He tells her that, which I completely forgot about. And again, they've done a good job of like coming back around to that. So he tells her that there's so many people who think they can't do it, but he did it great after graduating high school with a 2.6. And Katurah says that no one knows she's a lawyer, but if she's working with Jake, who is one, she's going to pretend to be interested in that stuff. She's really trying to play it up because it's allowing them all to bond. But now with it being day 20, she doesn't want to leave this game without telling her story. And look, we know Katurah has been through quite a bit based on what we've seen. I don't think we knew how much she went through because we get a generally like heartbreaking story here.
Oh, I know.
She opens up to them that she's had a little bit of the opposite experience. Her family took her out of school after her 5th grade graduation because of a religion that they joined that told them that kids should be homeschooled, not in public school. But in a few weeks, they wanted her to figure it out on her own while her mom went back to work. And she talks about how when she was a child, her family joined a quite extreme religious cult, and then instantly her childhood got taken away from her. They started putting her to work where she worked like 3 to 4 jobs. No one thought about her or what it meant that she wasn't in school for years. And then when she was 13, they told the leader of the cult that she was going to be his next wife, which is the moment something finally clicked in her mom's head and got her to finally run away from it. So when they finally left that religion and joined the real world again, she was 14 and they put her in high school because of her age. And she was so worried she'd be the dumb one or the stupid one since she hadn't been to school in years. And she just got shuffled back into the real world again. And then she realized that she was Black, poor, a woman, and gay. And that is when she decided to become a lawyer that advocates for Black people. She says she's so proud. She can literally say here 15 plus years that she did it. It's not a sad story. It's a story of redemption and resilience. She lives in her fantasy city and apartment and empowers her community and helps people. And she's saying that, well, on an island in Fiji playing Survivor, so it really could be a lot worse. And I just thought this was an amazing moment for Katurah.
It was wonderful.
Like I said,
it was just very like inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we know Katurah's been through quite a bit. We just didn't really know how much. And I feel like, you know, I've complained before that I thought there were too many like sob stories, but that this was necessary. Like we need to know more about Katurah. It really makes her like a fully, you know, well-rounded, you know, character and things like that. So I really like this a lot. I thought this was a great moment for her, and I'm glad she was able to tell her story. So
yeah, it was just very emotional and just heartbreaking. It was just incredible for her.
Yeah. So everyone wakes up and notices a boat coming toward them. They walk over and end up receiving some tree mail. The note then reads that one person must get on the boat for a journey where they will have a decision to make. If multiple people want to go on this journey, whoever draws the green rock will get to go on the boat, where they will return to camp later in the afternoon. So they all seem open to going, and Emily asks if they should just draw rocks, which they all agree on. And after drawing rocks, Emily is the one with the green rock, so she will be on the journey. And Emily's really not feeling great about this. She's feeling very uncertain about how the journey's going to go. I will say right now, this was completely pointless.
A little bit.
I feel like they wanted something to happen at the end game, and like it just wasn't necessary with what they ended up doing.
Yeah,
so,
I was kind of like, sure, but like, why?
Yeah, exactly. So Julie says there's always a chance on journeys to get an advantage. Emily now has a chance to build an even bigger resume now. So again, Emily, just not a great episode for her at all. Everyone's coming after her. Really just, you know, really just not
say too much to them.
Yeah, I mean that's what did it. Like I said, I think if she had just kept it to like Drew and Austin, I don't think this would be happening right now. But you know, that's a rookie mistake. So
yeah.
She talks to Drew about it, and he says that she's starting to get some genuine clout. She says she would have been down to sit with her at the end, except for now, and he agrees that that isn't the play at all. She has some friends on the jury and made a big move last night, but he's unsure if today is the day to actually cut her. So Drew says at this point, it's final 7. The core 4 is still intact. And last night, there was a genuine sense of camaraderie and friendship. And it's like going out drunk with your friends late at night, thinking that they're the best friends ever, but now is contemplating if that's actually true. So yeah, we're seeing some actual cracks in the Reba group that I didn't think we'd see this early on. But it really is a testament to like how good of players these 4 are. They're not just going to, you know, ride they're not just going to like continue dominating. They are actually taking shots at each other, and I thought that was very fun to watch. So
it was great.
Yeah. So Drew says at this point it's final 7 and the core 4 is still intact. Oh, I just read that. So he asks Julie if she wants to do something tricky with her idol, and she says no. And he tells her that he will go whatever direction she wants to since she has it, and she reminds him that he and Austin have one too. I thought this was a really bad moment from Drew. Like, you're basically asking her to like do something that's going to benefit you. Like, just the way he's talking to her, Drew is so cocky in both of these episodes, and it absolutely is the reason why he doesn't win the game.
He's he's just so cocky because he's like, oh, I've been part of like every move, blah blah blah, and now he's just like, I'm just hot shit now.
He just is like way too Survivor confident, and you really never can be.
Love Drew, but
even if things are going your way, you just can't be this confident. And I think that's absolutely like what hurt Drew. So
yeah.
He says that he thinks right now him and Austin are in similar categories, but Julie is a threat with the jury because she's mom and has great relationships with everyone, and she has the idol, which is a huge blunder by Austin and has been holding onto it like it's her idol, which I'm going to say it again. Why did Austin not ask for the idol back?
Like, ugh. That's like Austin's fault there.
Yeah, like that and him being in this showmance, like, really has hurt Austin in this game, like, severely. So,
because,
and I feel like...
Yeah, because, like, Austin was always, or, I mean, Drew was always his closest ally, now he's like, I'm all about my relationship right now with Dee.
Mm-hmm. And, like, at the time, I thought him giving Julie the idol was a good move, but, like, really seeing how it's played out, not great. Not great at all. Kind of worst move of the season. Maybe worse than what Bruce did, because it really hurt his game. So... Basically, Julie talks to Dee about how Drew is trying to get her to make a big move with her idol, and Dee says it's just to see if she's willing to do something, and if they did want to put a move on them, they have the idol and know so much information, but it's important to stay force strong because once it's done, they will get picked off one by one. She also says to her that when Emily gets back, she will lie to everybody, and they can put it in people's heads that she's dangerous and that she needs to go. So Dee wants Emily out, and you know when Dee wants someone out, they're probably going to go, because that's how this whole merge phase has been. So,
because she's just that good.
Yeah, she really is. Like, it's insane. Like, you literally can't get past Dee. Like, if Dee wants you out, you're going to go. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So... Dee says after Tribal, the four of them made a pact to be Reba strong, but with 6 days left, they all still need each other. They don't know what Jeff is going to throw at them, but she feels like there's a crack with Drew, and that scares her because she knows she has an in with Emily. So she's looking for her, her next, on these journeys. There's usually opportunities for advantages or idols. So really anything can happen. And with that, let's talk about the journey, which, like I said, not much to discuss here.
All right.
But Allie, go ahead.
So Emily is unsure what will happen because she knows she already has a target on her back after the Bruce blindside, and now going on this journey just increases it, but she's coming into the fourth quarter of Survivor, which determines how the winner of Survivor will be made. And she likes the opportunity to make a decision, but she's conscious of the fact that she could put what good position she's built in a precarious spot by making the wrong choice. I was just
you can keep going.
I was just finishing that paragraph.
Yeah, my StreamYard was just doing some weird, like, you were like out of sync for me. It was weird.
That's so weird. I'm like, he left. All right.
Yeah, because it was fine on YouTube. You were just out of sync on here.
That's so weird.
But you're fine now, so go ahead.
So for the first half of her Survivor journey, she's had a moment to reflect, and in the first half of the game, she told herself she didn't have to change as a person. She usually comes off very direct and aggressive, and she still to an extent is, but at the very first Tribal Council, she knew she was the one on the chopping block and was told she's too confrontational, and she's discovering how emotional this game is. So she has changed and now has developed a softness, which has allowed her to have deeper emotional connections with people and hear what's important in their life, which will extend far beyond this game.
And I feel like here we just knew, like, Emily's going. Like, usually we hear this stuff at a finale, and the fact that we're hearing it now, it's like, oh, this is it. Like, it seems so obvious, you know?
I know.
But, I mean, very well done. Like I said, Emily's journey this season is just a testament to how good the editing has been that we've gotten to see it. And I feel like that's, like, probably the best example of it to me is, like, seeing Emily's journey and how, just how in depth we've been with it. But I feel like hearing it, at this point, it's like, okay, Emily's going to go. There's nothing like
this is just like such a edit for her to go, sadly, but she's done so well.
Yeah.
So she walks out and sees a sign that tells her to keep walking, and she eventually makes her way towards another puzzle, which she is less than thrilled about. It turns out this is the savvy task people have been failing at all season. She is told if she solves it, she is safe at the next tribal, but if she fails, she will lose her vote instead. But to successfully complete this task, she must remove a circle of rope attached to a metal structure before the sand time runs out. If she chooses to compete, she may flip the sand timer and begin. Otherwise, she is to get on the boat and return back to camp.
What do you think of this?
I don't like the lose your vote option.
I mean, the thing that I like about it, I'm of two minds with this. I like the fact that it is optional and you don't have to compete. I like that. But I feel like there should have been a little bit more stakes if you choose not to compete. Like, if you don't compete, you can't compete in the next immunity challenge or something like that. Like, it should be something a little bit more spicy, because it kind of feels like there's an obvious choice here. You know,
I think so too.
If there's an obvious choice, like this is kind of pointless. And that's what this felt like to me. This just felt like they wanted to do something spicy, but it just like they made it a little too obvious with like what to do. So
yeah, I think I'm on the same. Yeah, I'm on the same page there. Like, it has like its pros and cons.
Yeah, it was just kind of nothing. Like, honestly.
So she is unsure what to pick, not knowing if it's worth it, because having immunity is always the correct answer. But the flip side is knowing she'll be safe, she may lose her vote. So, and she's imaging that there are conversations back at camp about targeting her, and if she has no voting, she is easy pickings and is scared that while she may be able to solve this, if she tries and fails, she could be guaranteeing her reward home, and she doesn't think it's a trip worth it. So she decides to get back on the boat and return back to camp. Because she can't risk her vote, she's playing the best game she knows how to play and hopes the decision she made is the right one, and that everyone will believe her when she tells them what happened.
Which, again, like, was the right decision, but like, what was the point of this? Like,
there was no point at all.
This is the definition of this could have been an email. Like, this is the definition of that. It
could have been an email. Honestly, like, just hit me up on my fax machine.
Yeah, literally, this is pointless. With the dial-up internet,
Oh my. So, returning back to camp, Drew goes over to Katurah and Jake and asking how they're doing, and he asks if they're thinking about the end of the line yet. And Jake says he has to, and Drew asks if they were thinking about going to the end together, who they were thinking as their third. And then Katurah says they were talking more about who is in the way or who she'd not want to sit by. And Drew talks about how there are some people down the beach and asks if they both think they can beat Beast, Julie and Dee. And she asks if he'd feel uncomfortable doing the next. So Drew asks where they think the numbers will be. And she asks if he has a read on Austin and Drew, or on Austin. And Drew says he thinks Austin may want to do something. And he thinks Dee's threat level has been going down a bit. And she says she'd rather go with whoever the biggest threat is. And Drew says Julie.
The fact that Drew thinks that Dee is like not a threat is, again, just like a testament to how good of a player she is. Like, how has she been able to hide her threat level this well? Like, truly just incredible.
Oh, she's fantastic. So good. Just give her the win.
Literally.
So Drew says right now he's ready to take some shots, and at this point, people look at Julie, Dee, and Emily as the three biggest threats, but his instincts are telling him Julie needs to go. Katurah says there's a lot going on in her mind right now, and she does think this is the moment where she plans to start picking up steam, coming out of the shadows, making a bigger move, being a little bit bolder, so she thinks she has options, but she knows she likes to blindside Julie first.
Which is a good move for her, but again, like, it's not Katurah's move. That's the only thing that, like, you know, is going to hurt her here. Where I think if Bruce was in the game, she could have had some more pull, but she doesn't.
Definitely. So Katurah talks to Austin that she doesn't know for sure who she wants to sit by, but she doesn't want to sit next to Dee and Julie. He says he is open to do it, because it will be weird writing her after all this, but he does understand if she's in the end, they all lose, and that at the end of the day, they need to win. He tells her he thinks Drew may be on board for either of them too, and she says she thinks everyone would be on board with this vote for Julie except Dee. Austin says that Katurah is saying to him what he's already been thinking, which is that they should not want to go to the end with Julie, and he agrees with her. It's impossible to not love Julie. She will be a tough person to beat at the end. She is someone that even if she backstabs him, she can still win his heart. So they may have to consider cutting her off before the Final Four, even though that's what they all agreed to do, bringing the Reba Four to the Final Four. He thinks if anyone would be willing to pull the trigger on the Reba 4, in the end it would be Drew.
Yeah, I mean, with the way he's been playing.
Oh yeah. He goes to talk to him and talks about his chat with Katurah and that she wants Julie gone next. And Drew asks how he feels about that. And Austin says he thinks it would really crush Dee since she really wants the 4 of them to go to the end. And that would put them in a really difficult position because they wouldn't have the guaranteed numbers anymore. And he would almost rather Emily than Julie go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough position to just like turn on Julie here. But again, the problem is they're not going for the right person. They should be wanting to go for Dee, but because Dee is in such a good spot, they don't realize that she's the one that's like, behind everything. They think Julie.
She's the mastermind.
They don't have the correct read on things, and that's what hurts them here.
Mm-hmm. Drew says Emily and him have a close relationship, so it has to be Julie, and in his talk with Austin, he needs to walk him through how few opportunities they have to vote without Julie.
Yep.
He says to Austin that his concern with Julie is that he thinks Emily is more inclined to go final 3 with them, as she's a much more tractable and reliable player than Julie is, and Austin asks if he thinks that, and Drew says yes, and he wants Julie gone next, and Austin says he is on board, but he's worried about Dee and is unsure if she'll believe in their final 3, and then the idol would be gone, and he can't believe he gave it to her.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a really good way to kind of show that, like, Drew has Emily. Emily's important. Like, I thought this was a good way to make sure that Emily's still there. But again, just they don't have the correct information, so this isn't going to work.
Exactly. Austin says he thinks it's the best move for him right now to get rid of Julie. The scary thing blindsiding her, though, is that it would likely also require blindsiding Dee, and that is a thought that really hurts him, and he's not sure how he'd be able to do that.
You see what I mean? Like, if Austin was not in this showmance with Dee, he would not hesitate. He would have just, like, kept it to himself. Like, that's the problem.
It really is.
He's like completely just like he has the showman's glasses on, and he's he's too much like in like the love zone, and he needs to be in the game zone, and that's his problem.
Exactly. Emily is certainly becoming a bigger threat, but he needs to take out Julie because she has his idol, and that is stronger than the amulet he has, which only lasts until the final 6. Where hers lasts till the final 5, he doesn't want to ask for it back because that could send the alarm bells ringing in her head. But he needs to vote her out and flush his own idol out of the game.
Literally, all he needs to do is go in her bag and take it. Like, that's all he needs to do. She'll think she has it, she can't play it, and then Austin just made this amazing move. Like, that's all he needed to do. And like I said, Austin could be in such a good position, but because he doesn't want to be cutthroat and he doesn't want to betray Dee, he's completely squandered his position.
Just like, he's too like nice and loyal.
Yeah, that's and the thing is, I think early on, like he had that villain edit, like the thing with the sandwich, that was great. Where's that Austin?
I know. Yeah, like now he's just like focused on his showmance.
Yeah, like you can see the difference here. Like Austin before, like going into the merge, was so much more powerful and had so much more pull. Now he's just basically squandered any chance of him winning at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I accidentally scrolled up, so I'm trying to find where I was.
You were on As They Are Talking. Emily walking by.
Or what was the last thing I read?
Austin says he thinks it's the best move for him right now. That's what you read. Emily's certainly becoming a bigger threat.
Oh, right. There it is. Okay. As they are talking, Emily walks by and she tells them about the journey, and Drew thinks it was the right call for her to not do the puzzle. And he says they were all worried the decision would involve them, so this is not bad news at all.
This was a really weird edit. Emily just comes out of nowhere. We don't see her get off the boat. We don't see anyone.
I know.
Welcome her back. I'm like, oh, Emily's back. Like, when did this
happen? She just kind of like comes in randomly.
Yeah, she just like appeared from the floor, from like the sand.
Magically appears.
Yeah, she didn't even get back on the boat. She just teleported.
Dee is not buying that Emily came back with nothing, as it's just the easy story to stay.
Mm-hmm. And that's why this is stupid. That's literally why this is a stupid thing.
Yeah. Emily says she came back and decided to be the best version of herself, which is open, honest, and transparent, and by being genuine in her storytelling, telling them the honest truth, she feels it will remove some of the target that was put on her by the fact she went on this journey.
Not when you have D coming after you, it won't.
Mm-hmm. D's dangerous.
Yeah.
She talks to Drew and Austin about what happened, and Drew lets her know Julie wants her out, but it has to be Julie, and he wants it to be a blindside. Yeah. Emily says it's no fun to go away and then find out in a few hours she was in trouble, and she really wants the person gone that's coming after her, and that's Julie. She thinks they are all headed into a showdown between the two of them, and they will both have miles on their faces, but they're both rallying troops right now. She's just hoping the alliance she built up will defend her enough that she's the one that will go home instead. She feels like she's grown a lot as a player and as a strategist and survivor, but it's scary because it may be her last tribal council, and she'll have to sever in that moment that the alliance she has built and has been making her game decisions never really had her back. And it was a fake alliance, or she might discover she made the right choice, and that alliance is real, and they have defended her to the bitter end.
Again, it's so obvious Emily is leaving at this point. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Like, it's like you don't want to believe she is, but like it's so like telegraphed at this point. You just know it's going to happen. So, all right, let's get to the immunity challenge here. So for today's challenge, they're going to be attached to a rope. On go, they're going to race to gather that rope by untangling it. When they think they have enough, they'll go over and under a series of obstacles. They'll then throw sandbags at a stack of blocks and then gather all those blocks and use them to solve a word puzzle. In addition, they are playing for a reward, which is a do-it-yourself barbecue back at camp. This involves hamburgers, hot dogs, soft drinks, and all the fixins.
All the fixins,
yes. Shout out to Andrew Denson for that draft name. We love him.
That was so good.
Watch his podcast.
Hell yeah, we love Andrew. And also, it's just when I saw that draft name, literally when I said that when I saw that draft name one time, I'm just like, that's a funny name.
So good. But getting back to stuff that's relevant. Although Andrew Denson is a king, we love him.
He's amazing.
After a very tight race, Drew wins immunity and secures a spot in the final 6. He's also the recipient of a nice reward. Jeff then tells him he can pick one person to go with him. So Drew says him and Jake had gone the longest since they had a reward. So he chooses him, which, I mean, this is smart. Him and Jake just had hi, Janaya. Him and Jake just had like a really bad fight in the last episode. So this is like really good for Drew. He can like pull him back in. Like I thought this was like the smart decision. So Jeff tells him he can pick one person to go with. Oh, I just read that. So then he needs to pick one more person, and he chooses Austin for a Guys Night 2.0. So it's literally the exact opposite of what just happened on the last episode.
Guys Nights.
So, yeah. Where was the Kenny Loggins song this time? Where was it?
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Yeah, where was that? So he says what she's nervous about is that pre-challenge they all had a pact that it would be Emily who would be the next person to go home, but she's unsure if that's changing after the boys are getting together because she knows they're going to talk strategy. All of their names are going to be in their mouths, which is not great for D, obviously. Mm-hmm. So then we go to the post-immunity, which there really is not a lot to talk about, but Ellie will still discuss it.
It's just very simple.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, all the girls are targeting each other.
I know. So Julie says Drew's wins today's challenge, and he picks the boys. It feels like the right choice. They're all starving, and the last reward, Emily took all women. So the boys get to peel off to go do their barbecue, and the girls have a spa day. And then the girls are all bonding in the ocean while applying cream to their face. Katurah says it's awkward to go back to camp with just the women because they don't have anything to really talk about strategy-wise. Half of them are plotting against Emily. The other half are plotting against Julie. So the 4 of them together are kind of like talking about their buffs. So they play along, and someone throws out Jake's name because that's the easy, safe route.
Yeah, the women just have nothing to talk about at this point.
I know. They're just like, let's just have a spa day and fix and clean our and like moisturize our faces.
Yeah.
So Emily says Julie is smiling at her, and she's smiling at Julie, pretending everything's fine. But the fact is, she's pretty sure every single person at camp has been approached by either herself or Julie to vote the other one out, which is true.
Then we go to the boys' night, which has a little bit more to talk about. We see the boys indulge in some burgers, and Drew says that winning the challenge is great, but now he has a chance to win a reward, which is so key because he does need to have an important strategy talk with Jake, as the two of them, like I said, just had an argument the other day. But at this point, he's a free agent in the game and has no one, so it's really important to take the leap of faith and bestow some kind of trust into Jake just to get on the same page and build a relationship that could be valuable at Final Six. So he talks with them and asks Jake where his head is at and says that he feels like 7 is a big time to make a move. And if I'm Jake in this conversation, like, Drew is clearly trying to strong arm me here. Like, that's what he's doing. He's trying to get me on his side after we literally just had a fight. Now he's going to try to include me. And I just be like, I'm not here for this.
I know.
Jake asks if he's thinking D or Julie. Drew says Emily. D and Julie are the targets. Jake doesn't want to do Emily, and they agree. So Austin then brings up how Julie has a better chance at the end, and Jake agrees and says he's concerned about fire making, which he thinks she'll be more likely to win it. And Jake then asks who they will pull in for this one, and he brings up Emily and Katurah. And Drew says he thinks both would be game to do it. Jake then asks if they are at all concerned to telling D early, and Austin says he is, and Jake says that they should all wait on her. Remember that. He says you should wait on telling D, and we'll talk about why that's important a little bit later. But Jake says that prior to this reward, he's been a backup plan to Drew and Austin, but numbers are really dwindling, so he does think that they need his vote now more than before. He doesn't trust them for long, but he does believe they need him for this round. He does his job as an attorney, but he also teaches theater to kids, which honestly just makes me like Jake that much more. And he says that as an actor, he's felt like the past couple votes, he's been kind of an extra. Remember when I didn't like...
I will say I really like this confessional a lot.
Remember when I didn't like Jake? Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
How
like, he's
dare
so
you not like Jake?
Such a fan
he's a
of
king.
him at this point. He really is. He really is. So he says he's been playing the tree and he's been doing a very good job at playing a tree. But to be honest, he's sick of playing a fucking damn tree. So he thinks with this vote, he's more of a supporting role. And as long as he's moving up, he's going in the right direction, he'll take it. And like I said, Jake is really perfecting that game of like, I am a number for you. I'm someone that you can latch onto. He's not just saying it, he's actually proving it. And he's doing a great job with that here. So, and Katurah is too. I just think Jake has done a better job of that because it's been like Jake has done things that are beneficial to him. He didn't cut the person that he kind of needed to have some agency in the game. So that's why I feel like Jake is just doing a better job at this point. So Drew says right now, everyone is committed to vote Julie out. The tough one in this blind side is D because they're really close. So they need to keep D out of the loop. If Julie found out about the plan, the fear is that she could wig out. She would play her idol and she could take a shot at anyone. And that would be a disaster. So who knows where the vote could come down. And it seemed like at this point, Julie was going to go. Everyone's behind it. And while Allie talk about what happened when the boys returned.
So post-sanctuary, the boys return to camp and discuss how it went. And Austin says getting back to camp, he's feeling a little uneasy because every time he thinks about this vote, there's one thing that holds him back from voting Julie out, and that's telling D, because they're at the stage in the game where every move they're going to make is going to hurt a lot. And that's the cost of getting close to people in Survivor, and it's been a big battle trying to figure out what the best move to make will be. On one end, he could blindside D and potentially ruin one of his greatest relationships out there, or he can tell D and potentially have that information leak back to Julie and ruin the entire plan. He's been doing the numbers, crunching everything, thinking it through for days. He's unsure if he tells her and how.
And again, like there is an obvious choice here, and that is to fucking not tell D. Like obviously don't tell D. But again, he's way too love struck right now. He's way too focused on like his romantic connection to D, and because of that, he just can't not tell her.
Right now, he just needs to focus on winning, and then they can go be cute after.
Yeah, so again, Austin just completely ruins any chance he has of making a move here.
Oh, yeah. So he talks to D and he immediately tells him that they are all thinking Emily and will be telling Jake, but he feels that isn't the plan for the guys. And he says it's a weird spot right now and tells her this will be the hardest vote because if they think of potential ways to the end, there's a strong movement against Julie, which she is not happy to hear about.
Obviously.
He says, though his heart is still telling him not to vote for her, he doesn't think it will happen because everyone wants it real badly right now. And he asks her what she wants, and she says she wouldn't write her name down, just like his, and he says he doesn't want to either. But even if he didn't, the other likely would. So she tells him if it feels too soon and doesn't understand why Emily isn't an option, and he says it likely will be Drew, Emily, Katurah, Drew, Emily, Jake, and Katurah voting Julie, and the other side is them and Julie. So the only way to save her would be to get her to play her idol, but that could come back and bite us, and she said it would because everyone would be against them.
And again, like, this is the one thing Austin just did not need to do. And again, just made it so we knew this probably wasn't going to happen the second he did this. Because again, Dee's power is just, it's unstoppable. It's like Taylor's karma. Like once Dee wants something, it just happens.
Exactly. Dee's karma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dee, yeah. It's more like Dee's miss.
Dee's miss, definitely.
Her miss is just so good.
Oh yeah. Dee says she absolutely needs to think about it because she loves Julie, but she knows her emotions don't matter because she knew this day would come where they would all have to break apart from each other, but never thought it would be her making a decision with Julie involved. Her mind is going crazy right now because Julie is her number one, and if she votes her out, it's just her and Austin. There's still 7 people left in the game, and there's still plenty of game left to be played. More twists to come, and if she doesn't have her 2 number ones, she's on the chopping block. And then if she tells her about her going home, then her game is blown. This is the biggest decision she had to make in the game. Austin is trusting her by telling him this information so far. She has followed her heart and will continue to do so in this game.
And this is exactly why Austin needed to not tell her, because, like, even though he's worried, like, how she's going to react, what is she going to do? At that point, she's on the bottom with Julie. Like, there's not much she can do at that point, you know?
Definitely.
Like, it's such an obvious decision to keep her out of this vote. And the fact that he didn't, it's just like, my God.
So she goes to Julie and tells her to put on her biggest acting face she's ever put on in her life, and tells her she has to play her idol tonight and they will vote Emily out. And Julie asks if they have any other option. And Dee says she is the option, but she's not going to go home because she is going to play her idol, and they will both put it on Emily.
And this is like a brilliant move. Like, Dee is literally, and Julie doesn't realize this, but Dee's literally this ensures that Dee gets her way. Like, she didn't have to do anything except just tell Julie who to vote for, and she'll do it. Like, the control that she has.
She's so powerful.
Insane.
Oh, she's so powerful. Julie is very mad to hear about the Reva 4 turning on her because she's done nothing but to protect everyone. And they're turning on her now when they've got easy votes to do. They need to man up and face her when there's 3 left. That was the plan.
I love Julie in just full on, like, just fuck it mode.
I know, it's so good.
She's just like on a mission, and she doesn't care who she betrays at this point. It's just it's great to see. I love it because she's been, as I've said it all season, like, Julie has wanted things to happen and they haven't been happening, and she finally gets a chance to, like, make something happen here. And it's really satisfying to see in a season where she's been so frustrated and hasn't gotten her way. It's great to see that it actually, like, things are looking up for her here.
Yes. So she talks to Emily and Jake and if they feel comfortable about tonight, and they both say no. And she says if she's comfortable with what she's doing tonight, it's one of them. And she asks if they want to make a move and tells them to pick a name because she just needs 4. And she asks who the 4th one would be, and she says they have Katurah, and she asks them if they think Katurah would write Austin, and they both agree, and she says if they're down for it, go for that, but if she doesn't hear from them, she will go rogue. Julie doesn't think they will make a move because they will go with the numbers, not realizing she has an idol, which Austin gave to her. And she's playing it, so if every single person is writing down her name, whoever she names goes home.
And that's why this was so bad from Austin. He couldn't done anything here.
It's good for Dee and Julie.
It's great for them, but, like, my God.
Ugh. He was not thinking.
Yeah.
Drew goes to Jake and Emily to make sure everything is still good, and Emily brings up that Julie is trying to get them to write down Austin. And Drew asks if she knows, and Emily says she is scrambling for what is supposed to be an easy vote.
So Emily knows, like, something's probably up here.
Yep. Drew thinks someone spilled the beans to Julie, and which is exactly what he doesn't want. He wants a cool, calm, and complacent camp because if Julie found out about this plan, she will play her idol, and then anyone can go home in this vote, and that is the real danger.
Gee, I wonder who it could possibly be. Who could have possibly spilled the beans?
I don't know. Like, Drew then lets Austin know that Julie is pitching him to go. Austin feels he had to tell Dee because if he was to blindside Julie without telling her, their trust would be broken, and it's crucial she doesn't tell Julie, and in her shoes, it may be hard.
It's Final 6. What do you mean?
Oh, my God. He tells Drew that he told Dee, and he's worried she will tip him off, and Austin says she doesn't think so, but now that his game is out there, if she plays something, he also will.
It's just like, Austin, why can't you understand how bad this is?
Ugh. Austin says there are 2 potential targets at the moment, and if worse comes to worse, they can easily vote on Emily. But he can't bring Julie into it because she will win. And if things get crazy, he will have to play his amulet tonight, but he's planning at playing it at the next tribal.
We've lost the plot. We've lost the plot with Austin.
Ugh. Dee talks to Julie and reminds her of the plan to vote on Emily, and Julie asks her why she shouldn't just write Austin. And Dee says she is getting too personal about it. Emily is more of a threat, and Julie reminds her Austin is about to write her name, and Dee says he doesn't want to, and he isn't the mastermind behind this. It's Drew, and they have to separate them, and Julie says if she takes out Austin, Drew is weak, and Dee says Austin is also her number 1. And Julie says she knows that. She says they will write her as well, because then they will hate each other after this, and she's writing Emily.
And again, just masterful work from Dee here, because she could have easily just let Julie write down Drew's name, but because Dee needs Drew to get targeted next round, she's making sure, like, yeah, Emily goes here. Wait, don't worry about that. Let's stick to our 4. She knows that Julie wants that unity, and it's so good. Like, it's when
fantastic.
People say, like, you need to play with your cast, this is exactly what they mean. Like, Dee understands how these people think. She understands what they want. She's really done a great job of understanding where everyone's head at this point. So when she says something to you, you think it's in your best interest, but really it's in her best interest. And it's
it's all so for Dee. She's just like phenomenal.
It's literally Dee's island. They're all living in it. It's Dee Viver.
Dee Viver. It sounds like a Twitter or a Discord game.
It actually does.
So Dee says she
Don't get any ideas. Don't get any ideas.
No. Dee says she knows Julie is paranoid, but everything is in Julie's hands. Julie is worried now that Dee told her Austin is her number 1, and that it may be better just to vote him out tonight. Heading into tribal, Dee wants her to vote for Emily, but she wants to vote for Austin. She hates someone telling her what to do. She's never had her back, so against the wall, that whatever move she makes could either save or destroy her, and it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah, this had the potential to be something really spicy, but let's get to the actual tribal here. So Jeff asks Jake, starting off, if 21 days, if it gets easier or more difficult to distinguish the difference between game and personal. Jake says that it gets harder because of how much they all get to learn about the people they're playing with. Drew then disagrees, and again, just really shows how cocky he's gotten, being like, well, paradoxically, it gets easier as they're all so close to the end, and that gives him a lot of perspective why he's here, who he's playing for at home, and it's like a wake-up slap that it's now or never. Julie agrees with this because the first one that made the jury hurt so much, but at some point, they all need to give themselves permission to play the game. Again, just Drew is just completely just like in survivor confidence mode at this point. It's so bad. So Katurah says it plays out differently for each player. Some people can acknowledge the closeness of their relationship, but recognize the need to remove emotion in order to get far. Otherwise, they've all seen people say they want someone to win and not vote them out, and it's due to the close relationships. And Emily says that to sum it up, there's a lot of full bags tonight. She doesn't think anyone came here aside from Drew with everything packed. So she thinks a lot of people are planning on possibly not going back to camp. So Drew says it was a very interesting afternoon, and he was very happy to be immune because he will need some protection from it all. And Jeff says that is the quietest and shortest answer he has given all season, and asks him to give more of a sense of what was happening back at camp. And Drew goes ahead. He tells some historical story about like Napoleon or some shit. I don't know what it was all about. But he relates it all to Bruce, that when he left, he was a hinge in the game, and now they all need to prepare themselves for a final 3. Everyone is wondering on this new page of history where they all stand. So Julie says that this vote is all about who she will be with at the end, and while she loves everyone, she's forced to write someone's name down that she loves as much as the next. Emily agrees with this and talks about how tough it is to vote everyone out and how much they all love each other. Austin says that they've been walking this fine line between playing really hard and ruthless, but also really connecting as a family. So now it's about which of his paths align with others, and then they can work together. So Katurah has been asked about the lack of idols played this season and how that really makes her feel. She says that she is extremely worried because she feels people have been holding cards close to their chest, and there's a much higher risk of things coming out now when the numbers are tight and people are more at risk. So all it takes is for a person to say they're feeling too worried and the plan goes away. As much as it is connecting, relationship building, and alliance forming, they may have had it may not matter because someone played an idol. Yeah, Austin, really shouldn't have thought about that. But anyway, so the vote goes down, and when Emily goes to vote, she says that if Julie is still here, she has her vote in the end. Let's talk about this for a second.
I know.
So, yeah, I think this is what's going to happen. I feel like a lot of people are going to come into the jury if Julie's at the end and think that like it was Julie running the show, and then they'll realize it was D, and that's what's going to happen. Like I feel like that's
going to happen too. They're
Yeah.
probably going to be like, I feel like D is going to be like, yeah, all of it was my move and not actually hers,
Which
things
is
like
true.
that.
Yeah. So Katurah says if it doesn't work, she blames Austin and his stupid emotional heart, which literally that's the problem here. That's
He played so emotionally this round.
Yeah. So before the votes are read, as expected, Julie does Bruce end up playing the idol. So this ends up having nearly every vote not count except for hers, in which she votes for Emily, who becomes the next member of the jury. And while Julie is apologetic, Emily tells her to not feel bad. Again, can we just talk about this is literally what D wanted to happen, and it worked perfectly. Like, just
so good.
Insane.
Like, this is D's move.
It really is. I mean, I do think it is Julie's as well because she played
Julie's
the idol.
Too, like because of her playing the idol and
D orchestrated her to target Emily. She was going to do Austin.
It was pretty much D's move, but it was like more so orchestrated, but also hers too.
Yeah. Do you think it was a bad move of Austin to not play his amulet here?
Here, no.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because like he wasn't actually going to get votes.
Yeah. Because
I think she was always going to vote Emily.
Well, she said she was thinking Austin, but I think what happened was she realized like we need the 4 together for at least one more vote.
At least
like,
for one more round, yeah.
And she's like, she's like,
and she wanted to do what she talked about with D.
Yeah. So in a retrospective, Emily says that no one wants this to happen in Survivor, but what an epic way to go. This has been the most amazing experience of her life. She has learned when she comes on really strong and aggressive, it's probably not the best way to make friends in this game, but she's so pleased she was given the chance to make so many amazing friends here and really changed herself, pivot her strategy, and learn a lot along the way. And let's just talk about Emily for a little bit. I've said what I've needed to. I want to hear your perspective on Emily in this game and just her journey overall.
Oh my gosh, you and I both were not like high on her preseason. We just thought she was just like very negative and thought she was just going to be very annoying. Yeah. But then obviously like early on, I mean, yeah, she had a very rough start on her OG tribe. But then her relationship with Kaleb, like their friendship was just so wholesome, and like he really took her under his wing. And then she's just had the best turnaround. Oh my god, like she's really like she's so strategic. She's good at challenges. She can be very social. She really like changed herself for the better, and she's gotten like all the way to 7th, which is impressive. And for being the last Lulu standing, speaking of nice stuff,
I know you gotta take it off now.
Yeah. But since like we never expected her to be the last Lulu standing, but it's just this is a testament to how good her game is. Yeah. Like she was just fantastic, and if she comes back for like another All-Star season or something, she'll kill it.
And like I said, if you want to talk about just how good the editing has been this season, I feel like one of the things you have to bring up is Emily's game. Because if she was, and I've said this before, if this was a normal season, her entire edit would have just been her being crazy, her being just chaotic. Like, it would have been very, I think, surface level. But because they were able to really peel back the layers of her early on, they were able to give her this really inspiring arc where it's like, yeah, you can come in like she came in so strong. Everybody saw her as a threat. Everybody wanted to eliminate her. And while normally that's a really bad position to be in Survivor, she finds this ally in Kaleb who's able to get her to just completely transform not just her game, but also her as a person, and have her like recognize things about herself that like she didn't before. And it's just, it's amazing to see.
It's
like
phenomenal.
we don't get to see someone transform in Survivor this much, especially so early on. But seeing how Kaleb was able to do that, and just how he was able to get Emily to go from someone that was just very outspoken, just said too much, was always just like talking about game, didn't know how to have these emotional conversations with people, to someone who like basically everybody thought was like could be like a number for them, and someone that they could kind of latch onto for like a vote, and have her completely dominate the Bruce round and things like that. I mean, just what an amazing game. I have no doubt that if Emily was at the end, I think she easily could have won this game just based on her story alone. I think she has
had an amazing arc, amazing story.
Probably one of the strongest arcs I've seen in a season of Survivor. It's very unique, and I was really rooting for her by the end. And I
was too.
I would never have expected to watch that first episode and say, by the end of this, you're going to love Emily, and Emily's going to be one of your favorites. But she really is. Like, we don't see anyone like her on the show, and it's just amazing to watch. Like, she just feels like a fully like a three-dimensional person with how much we got from her this season. I just thought she was just incredible. She was absolutely one of my favorites. She's definitely one of the things I will remember most from this season.
Me too.
Her win in the last episode, especially, just so incredible. Just huge fan of Emily, and I can't believe I'm saying that, considering how much I disliked her at first. It sucks for her to go out here, but again, Dee really did that, and it really secures that like Dee is going to pretty much dominate the rest of the game at this point. But you know, very sad to lose them. Yeah,
such
very good move.
Very, very phenomenal move. But like, obviously, it sucks that she left, but it was a great move, and she still made us all proud. Like, getting 7th is still a very big accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, just incredible player, incredible story. Definitely one of my favorites of the season. Honestly, very happy that I think she was the last person I drafted, and I'm honestly very happy I did, because she was great. So yeah, sucks to see Emily go here, but that pretty much ends this episode. Let's talk about episode 12, which, in my opinion, one of the best episodes of the season, for sure. There's so much to like about this one. Like I said, still some repetitive conversations here and there. Don't necessarily think it needed to be 90 minutes, but I do think this was still a really strong one, especially if you're a fan of Dee, which I am very much a fan of Dee. So,
me too. She's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, getting into episode 12, everyone is relatively quiet after Tribal, and Julie acknowledges it, and they all commend her on the idol play. She says she doesn't blame them and knows she's just playing a game.
I didn't know if they were going to talk for a while. Like, it was so quiet.
I know. It was just like, this is awkward.
Yeah. It's like when you're on a Zoom call and like nobody's talking, and then someone like breaks the silence.
Mike motherfucking Jones.
Mike motherfucking Jones. Yes, we love you.
He loves us.
Yes.
And we love him so much.
Are you excited for the... Oh, I don't think he's watching anymore, but I hope you're excited for the finale, because we'll be covering that soon.
Yes. So Julie says this was a crazy night where they all turned on her, but she played an idol that Austin gave to her, and she's safe. Dee is the one who told her that everyone was going to blindside her, but she wants to keep that covered to hide that they are working together. So in order to do that, they are actually pissed at each other, but in reality, they are keeping their duo intact, which is amazing.
Such a smart move. But usually the kind of move that like everybody can see from a mile away. So this was very risky, and let's just talk about how she pulls this off, because I'm generally shocked this worked out for her.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I hope.
Yes, I hope so.
Oh, so good. We love that.
Perfect. Amazing. So Austin says tonight was a disaster. This was the one thing they didn't want to happen, but he kept thinking Julie would vote for Emily or Jake, so he held on to his amulet, which is only good until this round, meaning he needs to play it. So it's very important right now. It's everyone's eyes are now focused on Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Dee says she basically had to act when she played her idol, even though she knew it was going to happen because she told her to play it. She had to act awkward in front of everyone and basically be the best actress she's been in her entire life. It's a game. They're all almost done, and she can act for a few more days, but it's very nerve-wracking because there was a possibility they thought that she told her.
Again, Dee is just killing us.
Oh, yeah.
Just give her the win.
Honestly, she deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
So she decides to then act like Julie is coming after her, and Austin says she won't, and this is actually the best case scenario for the both of them, because now everyone is trying to get rid of Julie, and now Emily and Drew are separated, and he says he wants to go to the final 3 with her, and they need to make sure everyone knows that she didn't tell her, and she says she didn't, and he says they may think she did because they know how close they are.
And the fact that she's literally actively lying to Austin and he like just buys into it. One, so it just shows how, again, just how head over heels he is with Dee right now and how he'll just buy anything she's telling him. But also it just shows like the position that Dee is in. Like the fact that she can lie to Austin and it's not going to hurt her at all. It's just incredible.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. It shows how powerful she is.
Yeah.
So Drew comes over and Dee says that Julie is coming for her. And he asks if she told her, and Dee says no. Austin says Julie is smart. She's a very good social player. And Austin says he just has no idea how she knew. He reiterates that this is best for all their games because everyone will look at Julie. So she has to go next. And they now have 2 chances to knock her down for an immunity challenge and says this needs to be the final 3.
Again, I wonder how Julie could have figured it out. How could that have possibly happened?
Oh my gosh.
I just don't know with Austin. I just don't know.
Drew says if this group showed one thing, it's that they aren't going to win an Oscar because there are some bad actors on this tribe. All they had to do was lie to Julie about 1 vote and they failed. Little does he know.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's so funny to watch him say no one's going to win an Oscar when Dee is just actively lying to everybody right now.
She's such a villain.
She is. And like I feel like she is the kind of person to be like, "Oh, I'm voting with my heart and things like that." But in reality, I'm like this villain of sorts. Like it's so good. She's a very different kind of villain where like you can't even tell that she is, but she very much is the villain of the season.
Oh yeah. So Dee says has no idea how she sold it, just pretended to be stupid. She doesn't think she's a good actress because in her day-to-day life, there's no reason for her to lie to anyone.
Are you sure?
But out here, it's a game. It's just as important as finding an idol and keeping it to herself.
Like, generally, how can you say you're a bad actress? Like, this is phenomenal.
I know.
This does not work usually.
So good. Julie comes over to the Reba 4 and asks them if they remember the good old days, and Drew asks if she does. She says she was real before real, she was Reba 4 strong.
Yeah, this is such an awkward conversation. Like, she's literally coming in so strong. She's like, it's like the good old days, remember? Like, she's really trying to, like, win them back over, but it's just not working.
Nope. Drew is annoyed by this as they are not friends right now, and she's the unwanted guest, like the ex-girlfriend at the wedding.
I'm here for this late game rivalry between like Drew and Julie. It's very unexpected, but
I feel like Drew is also another villain.
He is, but the thing with Drew is that he's not as successful of a villain as he thinks he is because he doesn't really know what's going on. That's the thing. Like he's like a delusional villain more than anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially this episode, he is so delusional to what's happening.
Oh, yeah. Julie doesn't know what to make of the Reba Alliance now, especially after Drew pretty much blew it up, so it's game on. Katurah says last night Julie played an idol at Tribal, which blew up the vote. Knowing it's back on the island, she is on the hunt for it.
Yep.
While she looks for the idol, Dee notices Katurah is nowhere to be found within the bed, and since she never wakes up that early, she immediately knows something is up.
This gave me like Carolyn with like the idol in the cage vibes where like the bear like closing in on her and she's trying to like lock it up as quickly as possible. Like that's what this reminded me of. Unfortunately, Katurah's not quite as successful.
Yep. Her and Austin then also go ahead to look for her and catch her in the act. Katurah is getting nervous looking for her, wanting to show she's had an evolution within the game and hasn't been a passive player. While she is looking, Austin sneaks up on her and she decides to be honest with him, but frames it as her trying to find the idol before Julie does, and Austin tells her to keep it low-key.
She's lucky that Austin is just a very nice person because he could easily just be like to D, like, Katurah's like giving me a bunch of bullshit here, but the fact that he's just like, just keep it quiet. It's okay. It's okay. Like, just don't let her know.
So Austin says they all know an idol could be planted anywhere on the island, and he doesn't want anyone to find it, especially not Julie. And then Julie wakes up and says she barely slept last night, and last night, not at all a kumbaya, let's get to the end with friends. It's who does everyone want to sit with, and why they can't think they can beat in the end.
And who they can't think, I meant.
And who they think they could be in the end. She thinks it would be smart if the 4 Rebas were at the end, but she doesn't know if that's possible anymore.
Probably not.
Austin tells Jake and Katurah they all know who can't win. Julie, meanwhile, is confronting Drew about the vote and says when they all said 100% Reba, she meant it that way. And he says he is still fine to go that way, and Drew says he thinks there are still plenty of routes forward for Reba, and most of them start with voting out Jake. She says her insecurity is she doesn't want to be an idiot, and they tell her that again, and she doesn't know how to build this back. She really wants to, but she thinks for both of their games should involve Reba. He brings up that the band is coming back together.
This is like such a like awkward conversation because you can tell neither of them trust each other right now, but they're really trying to act like they do, and it's just like not happening. Like it's very much the kind of conversation where it's like, I know you're not on my side, but I'm still gonna talk to you, and we're gonna bullshit each other. Like it's great. It's great.
Oh yeah,
we've all had conversations like this in
it's
games.
fun. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So Drew says his first play is to coddle Julie and make think there's a route forward, and that Reba needs to stick together, but realistically she is on the island alone, and there's no getting around the fact she is a perennial outsider from now until the rest of the game.
Again, the fact that he doesn't realize that she's good with D, it's
like
D is so good. It's facepalm, but it's also like, my God, D is just incredible.
Oh yeah. Julie feels this is all lies since Drew just organized the entire blindside against her, and now is saying he wants to work with her and thinks he is just feeding her whatever she wants to believe. So at this point, there's only one person that she trusts 100%. She doesn't think people realize how close her and D are and have been in the game, but there's 6 people left, and she's the only one she trusts because she's proved it and saved her life, so they need numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes over to D and asks to speak with her. Dee says it's even harder to act back at camp when she orchestrates such a big blindside. She can't tell anyone because the moment that comes out of her mouth, even if it's to Austin, she is risking $1 million out here. She's going to swear to everyone, and they will be alive and happy for her when she wins and that she swore for them.
No, literally, like, Austin, this is why you needed to lie. Like, literally, this is the reason, because now Dee has all the power around everybody. Like, literally, she can just say whatever and they will believe it. Like, that's the position she's in.
Yep. Julie tells her that she is her only in because Drew wants her out, and Dee says Drew is the one that has said her name before and is the master, and while she is also wary of Austin, he is just playing into Drew because they're close. They all know Drew is a mastermind and good at tribal talking, and he's got to go because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Julie says if Drew wants her out, she has to get him out and asks what happened to Reba Strong because they were so good, and she says Drew is what happened.
I love how much she wants Drew out. It's so funny.
It's so funny.
So, okay, we get to the reward challenge here. I thought it was very surprising they did a reward challenge in episode 12. But I like this a lot, actually. I like what this challenge was. So, for this challenge, they're going to race it from the ocean until they get to a barrel. They will stand on the barrel using ropes to guide them through a course as they correct 3 keys. Once they have all 3 keys, they will use them to solve a slide puzzle. The first person to finish wins the reward, and the winner of which is going to be given a huge feast for an afternoon picnic. They could do this back at camp, but today they're going to be doing something a little bit different and going to a beautiful sand spit in the middle of the ocean, which I had to look up what a sand spit is. I didn't understand this. It's literally just like the sand, like right near the body of water. Like that's literally all it is. It's like when you're near the beach and like you soak your toes in the ocean. That's a sand spit. That's where you're at. So yeah, he just, the way Jeff said, I'm like, what are you trying to say? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it was. Sometimes just you need that little nudge, you know? So Jeff says this truly is one of those where they can look around and it'll just be themselves, the food, and the waves lapping against the sand. But looking at the ocean is kind of rough. So they will be getting there by helicopter. So it's a tight race all around, but ultimately Austin does win the challenge and now will leave the island to enjoy a lovely picnic. And he gets to choose one person to join him, and he chooses D. Of course he chooses D at this point. And let me just say, this could have been so good for Austin if he would have lied to D here. And even if she's mad at him, he chooses her, she's going to trust him now. She's going to feel like, okay, Austin still has my back. Because again, now D is on the outs. She doesn't have the power that she does anymore. So if he's able to like wrangle her back in, this is good because D's not going to turn on him. So again, just really makes me mad that Austin lied to her here. I mean, I'm happy because I love D, but like, very frustrating for Austin.
Frustrating from him.
Could have been in such a good spot right now. So he has more than one spot to join him. He decides to bring Katurah, who is once again shocked, which she always is. She says that. I feel like that's just like her, go-to reaction. She's just always like shocked that people are choosing her, which is kind of adorable. I love that. Drew is a bit annoyed because he's never been picked for a single award all season, aside from where he wanted. He knows there are reasons for it, but there were reasons for it in middle school too, and it sucks. Honestly, like, boo-hoo, who cares? Like, I just, like, I feel bad, but I also don't, because it's, like, it's literally just, like, a picnic. It's not a big deal. Yeah, like, Drew's just annoying at this point. But Julie says because of this being a unanimous vote last round to send her out of tribal, she feels like she's being babysat back at camp, and that this was done in a deliberate effort to make sure that Jake and Drew keep their eyes on her. And Austin says it hurt not picking Drew, but his plan is to keep his eyes on Julie, and he knows the combination of Drew, Julie, and Jake are not going to go anywhere since they are at war with each other at the moment. So we get to the picnic, and there wasn't really a ton going on here, but I did enjoy this. We see the three of them are excited to go in a helicopter ride. There's a moment where they fly over to the camp, which I thought was really funny, the way they did that.
That was funny.
But Katurah says when she first got picked for this reward, she was just excited to think about everything else, but that when the two of them were sitting closer together, she realized that, oh my God, I am a third wheel. And of course, she glanced over every now and then, saw her hand on his thigh, and she thinks that they should do what they need to do, keeping their head in lover's lane, while she's thinking about what she needs to do to win the million. What she doesn't realize is that Austin is the one in lover's lane. D is the one in survivor lane. So, So they then take part in enjoying the picnic. Katurah tells Austin that she's so happy she chose him, knew he would, and was so excited that D was going. And she asked if she knew, and D says that she had a feeling. So D says that her and Austin's relationship is progressing because at any time a man tells you something, you shouldn't believe it until he puts actions behind his words. And he did just that when he chose her for the reward. So now she's feeling like she is his number one, and he put some action into it. It wasn't really strategy, and he wanted to spend this afternoon having this experience with her, and she was happy about it. And we get this great moment where we actually hear from the producer who, she asked what the question was, and the producer's like, what's the deal with you and Austin? And she says she's acting a little bit smidden. She says she is. She doesn't know how to answer it. He's a cool guy, and she likes him. It very much gave me the vibes of like the Carolyn confessional and like the beginning of 44 where you hear the producer's voice. Like we don't get to see that enough, and I like when that happens. So Austin says that D is someone in the real world he would be intimidated to ever talk to because she's awesome, so cool. And the past few years, he has really been able to develop his own self-confidence. he used to be so much more anxious, nervous, and introverted. He was a bit chubbier. He had braces from elementary school till high school and 12 years of bad acne. And he's come so far, but coming out here made him so much more confident, especially having someone as cool as D like him has been a big boost in his confidence. And again, this is a great moment for Austin. But again, it's all about D. He's just focused on D at this point, and that's not great.
No, it's really not. So post-reward, Drew and Julie. I don't know what I'm trying to say there.
Drew and Julie. There we go.
Drew and Julie are both sad.
There you go. You did it.
The other didn't get picked. However, they both aren't good with helicopters, as Drew only went for a ride once and threw up, and Julie says she would also get sick.
Then what's the problem? You know you're not going to be good with helicopters. Why are we upset?
Yeah, literally. Drew says Austin, by picking D and Katurah, has basically chosen him as a babysitter, and he's here at home causing a ruckus for these two demon children and has to stay there and make sure they don't get in trouble. The babysitting thing sucks because he didn't get any food, has to take the social heat. It makes Julie trust him even less, and he can't look for idols even more because he's stuck watching both of them. Julie grows up.
Which he really doesn't do a great job with, I have to say.
No, he doesn't. This was not his episode.
Like, what he needed to do here was really try to, like, focus on Jake and, like, make Jake turn against Julie. The problem is they had that fight, and Jake is just not willing to trust Drew in the way that he was, because Drew was, like, actively throwing his name out 2 episodes ago. Like, Jake's just not going to forget about that, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So Julie goes off with Jake and says she feels like Drew is trying to babysit them.
Exactly.
Julie says up until now she's had this great alliance, but her alliance has already taken shots at her, so she can't trust them anymore. So it has nothing to save her unless she can find an idol. Jake says Austin clearly thinks Julie needs babysitting, but he's not about that. He needs to focus on himself. He doesn't care about Julie, just so he decides to help search for an idol with her. Drew's annoyed when the flyover happens, and Jake says they're on Survivor, so they can't be doing too bad. And Drew jokes about how he has to constantly scrape rice off a gross dirty pot, so he's doing pretty bad.
That was a funny moment. I enjoyed that.
That was funny. Jake says the reward challenge didn't go his way. He lost. Austin won. He took D and Katurah, which are people he wants to scheme with right now. Meanwhile, he's stuck here with his next few targets. So he's thinking the only way he can win the game is if he gets something and do something flashy in front of the jury. And to do that, he needs some firepower. So he needs to find this idol now.
Yeah, and again, this is like such a great move from Jake. Like, he's recognizing it, like, oh my God, I might be, like, he's realizing this is like realizing you're going to be perceived as like a goat and doing everything you can to like not do that. And I feel like, again, he's just doing such a great job with that here. Like, I don't think the jury's going to see him as a goat at all.
Yeah, this is like a really good moment for him.
Yeah.
I loved it. So he then goes to search for one, and while searching in the trees, he ends up finding a clue to the idol, and he's told his idol is hidden in a secret compartment in the bamboo of his tribe raft. So he decides to strip down into his underwear, so if people find him, they will just think he's getting changed. Plus, it's fun to look for idols in his underwear, as he's done a play where he had to be on stage for a show in his underwear in front of other people. So he's not super concerned about searching for it in his underwear.
And the fact they make such a big deal about this, I feel like he absolutely will be playing his idol tonight and like do something crazy.
Oh, it's so funny. He looks through the bamboo, and while finding a cap, he pulls it off, and then finds the idol, which he refers to as his crotch idol.
That was great.
That was so funny.
Oh yeah.
He wants to get super innovative with it, not having it just to keep him safe, but have it so it earns him votes in the end. That's what this is, and he needs to find out how to best implement it, which was really good for him.
Yeah, really great moment from Jake all around, and I think he has the right idea here. It's like, yes, I have this idol, but what am I going to do with this idol? Am I going to hold on to it and like never use it? No, I'm going to do something crazy with it that nobody would expect, because like Jake should have been out rounds ago, and he's not, and it's because he has successfully like kind of put himself as like a free agent and someone that people can use to do whatever they want. And now suddenly he's the one that has power. So I really do think, and tell me if I'm wrong, I really do think in tonight's finale, we're going to see him do something crazy with this idol. I don't know what it's going to be, but I generally think he's going to do something, and it's going to put Jake in such a strong position to win. I feel like it's going to happen.
So too.
So
it's going to be so good.
So now we get
unless he doesn't even use it and just pulls a Marianne.
No, I think he's going to use it based on what he said here. I think he's definitely going to use it. So, because Jake is a very like just like showy player. Like that's just the kind of player he is. He likes to be big. He likes to be bold. He's very he's very over the top, and I feel like he's going to do something really over the top tonight. So we get to the immunity challenge here, and before the challenge, Jeff actually asked them some questions about the vibe of camp. He does this really weird, bad imitation of Jake, which I thought was pretty funny.
That was funny.
So Jake says it's no holds barred right now. It's every man or woman for themselves. 2 whole tribes have been eliminated. 6 is a starting tribe, which is what they all began with. So they're cannibalizing themselves, and we'll have a fun time doing so. So for today's challenge, they're going to put 1 foot on one end of a hinge beam. At the other end is a ball. Their job is to keep that ball up there for as long as they can, and if the ball drops, they are out. The last person to keep their ball up will win immunity. And so while it is a tight race, ultimately it does come down to D and Austin. The showmance is the final 2.
I know, I love a showdown though. It's so good.
Oh, yeah. And I love that they kept, like, bringing this up to each other. Like, are you still upset that I lost? Like, I thought that was
so good. I love their little banter, their bicker.
But, I mean, it's such a good win for D. She literally is standing like a statue throughout this whole challenge. So she easily wins immunity, securing her spot in the final 5. Drew says that now he has a plan in its place. He doesn't want to have to edit it, but Julie being at the camp is a reminder that they all failed and were outsmarted and beaten. And that's not a reminder he likes having around. So he would like for Julie to go at this point. And again, he's such huge tunnel vision on Julie. He can't see anything else that's going on.
This is just not a good episode for him.
Well, I think it's the perfect testament of, like, thinking you won the game and just thinking that, like, you just have to do, like, one last thing to win, and not realizing that, things are not the same as they've been. Like, Drew just is not in it at all in this episode. It's, again, because he's gotten so cocky and he's had, like, just such a,
he thinks he's in a great position.
In his eyes, he's had this like perfect game, and that's what happens sometimes. So, but with that said, let's get to post immunity because things get really spicy here.
All right. So D says it feels so damn good to win this. Guarantees her a spot in the final 5, which is absolutely insane. But even more than wearing this necklace, which she wants to go partying with it, makes her feel good because she is a woman and she's going against these men and she's giving them a run for their money, whether they like it or not. Preach.
Hell yeah, we love that.
We love powerful, strong women.
Oh, yeah. And Dee's really, like, held her own in challenges. Like, even the ones she hasn't won, she's come pretty close in. So.
Oh, yeah. She's great at challenges.
She really is.
So Austin jokingly says he will beat her next time. And she says there wasn't anyone else she'd love to go head-to-head against. And she says he gave her a rough time and they flirt a bit with each other.
Yeah, that was funny.
Austin says that immunity challenge went as good as he could hope, although him winning would have been the cherry on top. But it definitely makes it easier losing against someone he cares about, and that is very close to him, both strategically and personally. But immediately, Julie goes down, which is who needed to be out, so he can finish what he started at the last tribal council. It took one time to knock out his idol, and this is the time the job is finished.
Again, like Austin, just not the move here, not what you need to be doing.
Nope. Jake says it would be very easy to say he would just vote Julie again and make sure all the votes go on to her, but that doesn't help his resume one bit. So even though him and Julie don't have the best history, her playing in desperation is a great thing for him. He tells her he hasn't done a lot strategically in this game and asks what he would be doing if he decided to dogpile on her again. But because it doesn't help his game at all, and she agrees, and he asks if she's open to doing anything this round, and she says yes, and he says he needs to pull in Katurah to blindside Drew, because anyone who sits next to him in Final 3 would lose because he's one of the best speakers he's listened to in his life. He says that's how he's looking at it right now, and asks if she's at all opposed to it, and she says she's not.
Yeah, and I mean, this is so great for Jake here. Like, he's recognizing what he needs to do. He's putting himself in this really good position. Again, the only thing that hurts him is that D already thought of this. That's the only thing. But still really good for Jake. Like, he's absolutely playing for himself right now. This is what Austin needs to be doing, and he's not doing.
He's not. So Julie says since the entire tribe tried to vote her out, this is her only play. So he's saying the words and she's just agreeing. But what she doesn't know is that she's working with Dee, who is down for writing Drew's name, but she can't let Jake know that. And if it all goes well, there will be 4 names on Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Jake says right now every move he makes is absolutely crucial. He needs to take ownership of every person who gets voted out of his game and needs to be in absolute control.
And he is, but not as much as he thinks.
Yeah. He talks to Katurah and says if they go on Julie tonight, where's the move from them? It doesn't look like they've done anything on their own. It would be the 3 Reba versus the 2 of them. And she says she was thinking the same thing and that it might be time to blindside somebody. And he asks if she's down to vote Drew. And she says she would be 100% down for that. And he tells her Julie is also 100% in. And she says she thinks she can get D. And he says he wouldn't even pull her. Because if it leaks and Drew plays an idol, they don't get a move. It's 100% a move for them, and that D can't take credit for, and something they would have over her at Final 3, and she agrees, although she doesn't think about it that way.
I'm just like snickering watching this because him saying D would not doesn't get to credit this move when in reality she's behind this entire thing.
I know, it's so funny.
Great. Yeah.
So Jake says the way this is supposed to work is himself, Julie, and Katurah go 50% in, putting all the votes on Drew. Now, if Drew, D, and Austin put 3 votes on Julie, they run into a tie. And if he gets into a tie, he thinks he can. D or Austin to flip at a revote. He says this is also very similar to the. Yeah. He says this is also very similar to the move he tried to pull to save Kaleb. So in a way, he's hoping to get some redemption tonight. He says some people might think it's ludicrous for him to rely on Katurah twice in a similar manner, but he believes their interests align because she also needs some moves, and if he can make her think it's hers too, his winner potential will go up, so he doesn't want her telling D.
And I think the reason Katurah is more inclined to do it is because, I mean, this time around, Julie's not a sinking ship. Kaleb was at that point. There wasn't much that he could really do, but now there's genuine potential to do something. So it's really smart to try this again. Normally I would say don't try the same move again because insanity is literally the definition of doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result. But in this case, it makes sense.
Exactly. So unbeknownst to him, however, she runs right to D and tells her, and they both seem excited to take him out. Katurah tells her they need to be super careful and make him think it's Julie because he's very smart.
Again, just nobody can get what they want. Everyone just tells D everything. It's so good.
I know. You just cannot trust her. She only trusts one person, and that's Julie. Yeah. And Austin, but yeah.
I think she's Katurah as well. I do think that she has Katurah. She's by no means is she her number 1, but I think she trusts her.
Yeah. D is so dangerous.
Yeah, she really is.
So D says at this point of the game, Drew needs to go as he is a mastermind behind so many moves in this game. She thinks the fact she voted for Julie last round showed she was still with him in this game. So he won't see it coming. However, it puts her in a position where Austin may feel like she betrayed him. Where Austin may feel like she betrayed him, and it's going to suck because she's worried about lying to Austin, but when it comes to lying to Drew, she could care less.
What about Josh?
I did?
Yeah, you almost said Josh instead of Austin. You forgot what show we were talking about.
Who's Josh?
I don't know, Josh Martinez.
I mean, not Josh. No, it's true.
Yeah, what's gonna happen with Josh?
Yeah, Josh Martinez just is coming in at Final 6.
Yeah, he leaves Reindeer Games and then goes right on Survivor. Even though they both were filmed at completely separate times, they make it seem like he just moseyed on over to the island.
Oh my god. So Drew says up to pretty much today, everything has gone to plan, and that's an amazing thing to accomplish in Survivor. And maybe he's full of hot air, but he really did control the merge up to this point. The only hiccup was Julie's idol play, but even that, there was some convenience for Emily. got out of the way with no blood on his hands, and with Julie gone tonight, he's cruising into a cleaner final five than he would have if Julie would have gone home in the first place. He does think if he was really in danger, Austin would play his amulet on him and protect him, and maybe that is tremendous complacency on his part, but he does think he is sincere in wanting to go to the end with him, and he would protect him if push come came to shove.
This is embarrassing at this point. Like,
I know.
The fact that he legitimately thinks he is in this amazing position when he does not have immunity, when he literally was immune last round, when he tried to vote for Julie and failed and now thinks it's going to work again. Like, my God, you cannot get any more cockier than this. This is like,
he's so cocky here.
Remember how like Omar was so confident in 42? He wasn't even this confident. This is like insane.
Yep. So he talks to Dee and says Julie likely will be spiking someone's name up there, and it may be him, but Austin could also play his amulet on him. So they're set. This is the plan. It's locked in.
And this is something he should have said to Austin like way earlier in the round. Like Austin absolutely, I think, would have done it if he would have just like had any sort of suspicion. But because Drew has been so overconfident that everything's going to work out, now it's a little too late.
Oh, yeah. So he talks to Austin about how promising things are looking and how they have not had a single breach of trust ever, which is crazy, and it could go down as one of the greatest duos in Survivor history.
All right, now let's not get carried away here. No, that's not.
Oh my gosh. So Austin says it almost feels like it's been too easy. It was like day 2, he was with Drew and they talked about working together, and by day 7 they had a final 2 alliance and they knew they could take over the game. And as soon as the merge hit, they knew how to knock each person out to finish this game, and they have been able to get it done.
Because it is too easy. That's the thing. Like, my God, Austin, why don't you realize what's going on?
Drew compares him and Austin to JT and Steven and Gervais and Tyson. When things came back, when things came down to it, they had each other's backs. Now he sees visions of him in the final 3, and maybe he's counting his chickens before they hatch. But at the same time, how can he not? Because it all seems so tangible. Just staying in the moment. It's hard. He's speeding ahead, but he has to stay grounded in his boat tonight. Otherwise, he may find himself on the way out.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like just insane how comfortable Drew feels right now.
Austin talks to Dee and says it sucks lying to Julie, but at the same time, it's part of the game. And they're so close, and she says she's so happy he lost, and he says she will never let him forget. And she says never.
Again, just the trust he has in Dee. It's insane.
Oh my God, I know. Dee says she's going back and forth as to whether or not she should tell Austin what's actually going on, because he trusted her so much to tell her about Julie, because he didn't want to blindside her. So she doesn't want to do the same to him, but there's a possibility that he might have to use his amulet on Drew and then blindside Julie, which would be the same situation that she was in. So it's really getting tough. It's hard because her morals are getting in the way, but coming in here, she told herself she couldn't let her emotions get in the way, so she should tell him or not, because out here she's forced to make tough situations. And she told herself coming in here and making a promise that she knew what would be her weakness, so she didn't know who would be in the game or who she would meet, but she knew her weakness were her emotions getting involved, and trying to balance her emotions in the real world with her emotions on Survivor. It's just hard.
Oh, so good. So good.
It's such a great confessional with her.
Like, this is exactly what, again, Austin needed to do. Like, don't let your emotions get in the way. Focus on, like, what actually matters. Because if she tells Austin, like, Julie goes and never trusts her again. So, like, and then she probably burns her jury vote. So, you know.
Definitely.
So, okay, we get to the tribal here, and there are a lot of just kind of the same questions here. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. So Jeff
a lot of repetitiveness.
So Jeff asked Austin about the reward challenge and how he noticed who he was going to bring and wanted to focus on who he left behind. If he got any kickback from people about that. He talks about it like there was a little blowback, but really not too much. When the helicopter went in front of them, they all screamed. He thought if they didn't already hate him, they probably will now. But people were really respectful of the decision, and that's all he can ask for. Julie says that she's pretty sure he just wanted to keep an eye on Jake and Drew, and then laughs and says her suspicion is she was supposed to be babysat and her kids are turning on her. We get this really great moment from Jake. I thought he had like the probably this was like his episode quote. If it wasn't the underwear thing, it was this. Where he says Drew let Julie stay up late and eat ice cream past bedtime, and that they're the cool babysitters.
That was so funny.
He says, Jeff says to Katurah that it's all being viewed as one big joke, but it's not. It's a strategic move to win a game. And she says she thinks they're all trying to separate as best as they can. Yes, they recognize it's a move and how tough they will be, but they like each other and enjoy each other's company. Drew is asked again about voting somebody out, but spending all day with them being friendly. Literally the same question he was asked last tribal. He says that the separation is a tough task, and he'll be blunt that some can and others can't. It's to different degrees for everyone at first. He was really caught up in the relationships, and now as he gets closer to the end, he starts to have a clearer vision for that, and he thinks all of them are feeling the same, knowing they have friends and family at home, and how life-changing the money will be, which brings them all back to reality. And this was a fine answer from Drew, but later on, not so much.
Same.
So Dee says she thinks they all respect each other, to know that they respect each other's company, but they're all lying to each other, and some will go home tonight, and everyone knows except that person. So Jeff then asks if that means alliances are locked in, or does it mean the opposite? Dee says it's more that alliances aren't locked in because they're all getting to a point where they're looking at a game versus their personal relationships. And Drew then does something that I think, listen, he's done a lot of things in this episode that were just baffling. This is like literally sinking any chance he has of surviving the round. Literally says that there are people here he's 100% honest with, and he feels he has alliances. He's locked in. And Jeff is even surprised at this. He says he's so surprised how confident his statement is, asks if he can look a little further or if everything is about tonight. And Jake says, and Drew literally says, if he gets through tonight, he has a clear path to the end. Like, also, what are you doing?
Also, you said Jake instead of Drew.
Yeah, I corrected myself. But like, what are you doing? Like, literally, it is final 6.
So bad.
It is not. You're not at tribal. You're not at FTC yet. Like, this is so bad.
It's just like horrible there. Oh my god.
Yeah, like this is literally like if Drew had any chance of surviving, it's gone because, oh my God, Drew literally just blew up his game at this point. So Julie says she's jealous because she's in a different spot in Final 6. She's not sure if she'll make it to Final 5 because if she thinks about Final 3, she thinks she'll lose focus getting there. Exactly, Drew. That's your mistake. You're too focused on this round.
Exactly.
So, or you're too focused on rounds ahead. You have to focus on what's going on right now. Like I've made that mistake in games before and it's gotten me fucked. And that's literally what's happening to Drew. So Drew says there's a sense where Survivor is like limbo and the bar is dim for everyone. And Julie's feeling the bar is so low that she'd have to get on her hands and knees to get under it past this vote. And again, just so bad. He's so confident Julie's going to go. It's so bad. So Julie's hoping this is not the case, but if she has to go into trust mode, it's like the first day of high school, hoping the middle school or summer school friends will like her still. And she feels like there are much bigger threats than her. Austin feels that Drew is spot on because when someone is worried about where they are, it's impossible to think far ahead. And once you do that, things start opening up. Whereas for Dee, it's much easier to start thinking ahead since she is immune. Yeah, Dee is literally the only person that can think ahead at this point. So, I mean, Drew thinks he has the immunity necklace, it seems, the way he's talking. So, Drew, this is not last round. This is this round. You're not immune, buddy. What are you doing?
Just being so bad.
Yeah. So Jake says in the game, you have to fight because the game is in overdrive. They're looking at each other, thinking about how there will be 3 more people on the jury, and they all need to think about how the other 3 will be sitting there, will play out. Dee says she thinks everyone has their own final 3, and she doesn't think the one everyone has will play out like that. So they need to be aware of all possibilities, which is true. That's usually what happens. However, this is Dee, so I feel like what she wants is what's going to happen. I just feel like that's the case at this point. So right before the vote, Austin does decide to play his amulet on himself, which again, testament to how badly Drew played. This could have easily been played on Drew. But because Drew didn't give any indication to Austin that he would be, in danger, Austin just plays it on himself. So the votes are then read, and despite feeling super overconfident for really no reason on how the vote's going to go, Drew is blindsided by a vote of 4-2, and he literally leaves in a huff. He doesn't say goodbye to anybody. He was
pissed. I can honestly see him being bitter.
And he has really no right to be, because the only reason that he's in this position is because of himself. That's why he's here, because he got so super cocky, and he got so caught up thinking he was going to win the game. Like, it's kind of like Shane in Big Brother 14, where I don't think Shane was ever truly bitter at Dan. I think he was more so just upset that he didn't win the game because he thought he was. Like, I think that's what's good. If Drew is bitter, it's because he thought he was winning the game and didn't. Like, that's why. So
he was so
it's
mad.
It's going to be like that. Yeah. So since it is now the final 5 tomorrow morning, they're going to be taken to a new island where they will start over. Woo! And Drew then says that he got totally blindsided. It's a tragic time. Oh, yes, we're very excited for that. But we get to Drew's retrospective, and he says that he totally got blindsided. It's a tragic time, old story of a young guy who goes into Survivor with a lot of brain power and a little bit of too much confidence. He'd love to tell us that Survivor totally transformed him, but it's a deeply ambiguous experience that broke him down. He's hopeful he will be given the opportunity to grow building off of this. And listen, I will say this about Drew. The majority of the season, I like Drew a lot. I thought he played a really well-rounded strategic game. I think the way that he was able to kind of integrate himself into so many different groups, especially early on in Reba, I thought he did a really good job with. I thought he started out the merge really strong and things like that. Like, I think he played the game really well, but I think the problem with Drew is that he just got way too confident. Things were just going his way, and so he just kind of naturally assumed that that's what was going to happen. And the difference with Dee and why she is such a good player is that she doesn't think everything is going to go her way. She thinks of every possible scenario. She thinks of, the obstacles that may be in the way, and she tries to find a way to work around those. Drew didn't think about those obstacles, and because of that, he ends up going out of the game when he absolutely should not have gone here. Like, this should have been like Dee or Austin. Like, this should not have been Drew, but because Drew was so incredibly cocky, and I'm going to be honest, by the end, kind of annoying. Like, I really was not liking Drew that much in this episode.
I know. Like, I love Drew,
how cocky he was. He just ended up like not recognizing the game that was in front of him, and because of that, he got fucked here and kind of deserves it. Not gonna lie. So
he kind of just did it to him. Yeah, he just he just did it to himself there. But like, I did enjoy him the whole season. Like, he was a good player. He was a great speaker, good at challenges, all that stuff. And like, I did love his like bromance with like Austin.
Yeah, they were a good duo. They were a good duo.
I love the Reba 4, all of them. But yeah, he just got super overconfident, super cocky. He just felt like he was like in the most perfect position. So he kind of did this to himself. But I mean, overall, I still thought he played very well.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I think 6 is still very good.
6 is still very good. But like I said, if Drew is bitter, it's absolutely because of his own actions. Like, that's why he's bitter. It's not because of anything anyone else did. It's literally because he didn't see the game in front of him towards the end. So that is what I will say about that. All around, though, I thought this was a great episode. Definitely one of my favorites of the season, especially just the way that Dee was able to lie to everybody. Nobody's been able to clock it. It's like, at this point,
fantastic.
How does she not win the game? Like, how does she not win?
I feel she's probably getting there.
Because we do see in the promo for the finale that people want to go for her. But, like, realistically, who's going to want to do it? Julie's with her. Austin's with her.
And also, like, it could be, who knows? Maybe she'll win immunity, too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the only way Dee goes is if somehow Jake and Katurah get one of them to flip. And I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Dee has secured Austin and Julie so well that I don't see them flipping on her. What I do see happening... Yeah, what?
I don't see that yet, yeah.
What I do see happening is they'll try to go for Dee and it'll be Austin or it'll be Julie. And I think that's... Probably Austin at this point is what I think is going to happen.
At this point, Julie and Austin are just collateral damage.
Yeah, I think Austin at this point probably goes to 5. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that they'll try to pull something off to go for Dee, and it's not going to work. Fire making, I feel like that's Julie's time. I really do. I think Julie's going to go there, and I think we have a final 3 of Dee, Jake, and Katurah, where I think Dee is obviously the front runner to win. If it's not Dee, I do think Jake has a shot. I think he's played a really Yeah, I think he's played this really strong game where, yes, he was a huge target in the beginning of the merge, but he really hasn't been a target since then.
He was
Yes,
always
he's been like
the easy vote.
yeah, he's been a decoy of sorts, but no one's actually wanted to write his name down. It's because
Yeah.
of the fact that Jake has played this great game of being a free agent and making sure that, like, he's a number for people. And I think he's done that very well here. Whereas, say, Katurah, as much as I love her and how I do think she has this great story, I think she made some moves early on, focusing a little too much on her rivalry with Bruce, to where I just think she's burned some. I think she has burned some people in the jury. I think there were opportunities for Katurah to do things to benefit her own game, and she just really didn't. And because of that, I think if she's at the end, she's a number for Jake. She's a number for D. She's not really playing for herself. And I'd love to be wrong because I love Katurah.
I love Katurah too, and I'd love to see her win because Katurah is one of my winner picks preseason.
And it should be noted, this is literally what we said was going to happen to Jam Jam in 44, and he literally won. So we could be completely wrong here. So, I just feel like that's what's going to happen. But yeah,
But we shall see, because, like, I love being surprised. Like, I honestly think anything could happen with this finale, because everybody is just so great to watch.
Yeah,
but I mean, obviously, Dee's the obvious front runner. But I can see Katurah, I can see Jake, I can see all them winning. Austin is definitely like 0 vote finalist vibes. Julie,
if he's there,
I feel like if Julie's in the end, she gives me just like second place vibes.
I think Julie is Heidi in 44, where she gets like some votes, but not much.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not another like 7-1-0, because that's so boring.
I know.
I hope that's not what happens again, because we've had literally like 4 straight seasons of that. Like, can we please have a little bit more intrigue in the votes? But yeah, no, I gotta say, Final 5 all around, probably the most well-rounded Final 5 we've talked about in a Survivor podcast. I feel like every season we've talked about, there's been one person where I'm like, I don't know why they're there. I don't really think they deserve to be there that much. I don't think they played that great of a game. There's nobody in this 5 where I'm like, I wouldn't be happy if this person won. Even if Austin wins, like, I still think he's played a good game. Made some really dumb moves, like,
he's
for
just
sure.
had some really, like, the last couple rounds, he just played very emotionally and stuff. So
yeah,
but he still played a strong game overall.
Yeah, like, he made some bad moves, but if it gets him the win, then good on him. Like, we didn't think Jag was gonna win Big Brother 25. We didn't think Jam Jam was gonna win Survivor 44.
I know.
And look what happened.
We literally we thought Carolyn was definitely gonna win, but she got the 0 votes, sadly.
I don't see Dee having the problem that Carolyn did. I think Dee can articulate her game very well, because Carolyn just couldn't really explain her game that well. That was her problem. I don't think Dee's going to have that issue, like, really at all. She's a very good speaker. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, generally, I think anyone in the Final 5, like, deserves to win. I think all of them would be great winners, and we have not been able to say that. Like, 41, Xander, don't think he played that great. Still don't think he played that great. Honestly, most of the Final 5, aside from, I would say, Ricard, Erica, and Heidi, not really that great of players. So that's kind of how I feel about 41. 42, it was like Marianne and Mike and Lindsay, and then everyone else was just kind of there. 43, I mean,
Lindsay, honestly, Lindsay, she was just kind of there too.
I mean, she played really well. Like,
she did play very well, but she wasn't like I'm pretty sure she wasn't like high on my rankings or anything, but I didn't hate her or dislike
43, we don't talk about. Cassidy should have won. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, Cassidy and also Jesse was done dirty.
Yes. They
were all done dirty because we do not stand the winner.
Yeah. 44, I mean, obviously, Jam Jam won, definitely deserving. Love the Tika 3, but anyone besides them and Heidi, I didn't think really played that great. So, Jamie, I just wasn't really, thinking would be that great of a winner. But 45, there isn't that person. There is nobody in 45 where I'm like, this person does not deserve to be there. I think all of them played very well-rounded games. I think all of them have done at least something to get them to this point, even if some of them kind of had some, blunders of sorts, like Austin. I still think, again, anyone here would be a really good winner. So I'm honestly very pleased with
I'm like literally happy with it. Literally, I'm happy with any of them winning, honestly. Like, obviously, D is the one I'm mostly rooting for to win out of the 5, but I love all of them, and I'm happy either way.
Yeah, so either way, I think this is going to be a really good finale tonight. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. And like I said, if Dee wins, like the most dominant winner we've had in a very long time, and there's no question about it. But if she doesn't, that'd be even more exciting because I kind of want to see, you know, the trajectories of everybody's journeys. People have talked about this before. Should be noted, Jake and Katurah are two of the first people you see in the first episode. So a lot of people think that's pointing towards them winning. People said that about Emily as well, but obviously Emily didn't make it. So I don't know if we can still, you know, go on that theory, but we'll have to see if there's any stock in that whatsoever. But yeah, other than that, very excited to see how this finale plays out, and we will see what happens. Is there anything else you want to say before we start plugging stuff?
I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. I'm just very excited to see what happens with the finale because I love being surprised. I know I love being surprised. I don't love predictability, and I'm just excited.
Yeah. I think we'll go ahead and plug some stuff. So the only other thing to really plug at this point is Reindeer Games. 2 episodes left. Yeah. Literally ending tomorrow.
I know. We're probably just gonna do episode 5 like tonight or whatever.
Which I will say, not a lot to talk about.
and then the finale we'll probably just cover like this weekend or something. And then and then obviously we just have the Survivor finale. And then and that's pretty much it until after the holidays where we're probably just gonna do all of our season reviews.
Yeah, so look forward to that. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking of Survivor 45. Who do you think is winning it all? We will have to see. We will be live in literally like just a minute, so look forward to that as well. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.
See you soon.
Yes, literally like